family from bereavement, and we have the evidence of this. We've seen this two-tier justice system play out over the course of the past few years. We saw how President Trump was treated and how the juxtaposition between he was treated between Biden today is clear to the American people. He leaves us no choice. And if articles of impeachment are brought forward, Wesley Hunt will be a yes.
I'm curious what the Democrats say. I mean, they can't say witch hunt. I mean, we already saw what a witch hunt is, especially with all the revelations.
They did it to Donald Trump over a phone call. I think there's a lot more information here.
Text messages, a laptop. We got business folks. We got witnesses. We got whistleblowers.
WhatsApp
they used
messages.
to protect whistleblowers. They don't want to protect these, though.
So much of the stuff we know is about Hunter. The big question is, how does it, if at all, involve the president of the United States?
Got him.
While 99% of Fox News worked tirelessly to break the daily Hunter Biden record. I mean, today's mentions clocked in at 104 times just this morning. So they're on course.
Kevin McCarthy has brought up the I word, the impeachment question, and he's calling it an inquiry.
Not an impeachment. It is to get all the information. Then we're going to inquire, is this an impeachable offense?
But there are a few, like, say, Steve Doocy, who in the past has voiced some concern regarding the small case of, there being absolutely nothing to tie this to the sitting president.
I know the Republicans said that the smoking gun were these financial records that you were able to subpoena and got your hands on. They show that some of the president's relatives were paid more than $10 million from foreign sources between 2015 and 2017. And your party, the Republican investigators, say that that's proof of influence peddling by Hunter and James. But that's just your suggestion. You don't actually have any facts to that point. You've got some circumstantial evidence. And the other thing is, of all those names, the one person who didn't profit is there's no evidence that Joe Biden did anything illegally.
And today he opted to reiterate said disdain over his employer's relentless quest to make Hunter Biden a staple in every sentence.
Kevin McCarthy has brought up the I word, the impeachment question, and he's calling it an inquiry. This is what he had to say and the reasons why they're considering this. Watch.
You've got IRS whistleblowers saying something when it comes to government treating the Bidens different. You've got an informant claiming that the Biden family had been bribed. Should you ignore that or should investigate that? The only way you can investigate that is through an impeachment inquiry, so the committee would have the power to get all the documents that they would need. So what an impeachment inquiry does, it gives us the apex of the power of Congress for Republicans and Democrats to gather the information that they need.
So it's not an impeachment. It is to get all the information. Then we're going to inquire, is this an impeachable offense?
Right. We've seen this movie a couple of times before. First step, impeachment inquiry. Almost always it leads to an impeachment. I've heard from members of Congress on the Republican side, they're going to do the I word of Joe Biden. That guy right there doesn't look too happy in that picture. And they're going to use the 1023 form as the basis for everything. Here's the problem. And we'll talk to Miranda Devine about this here in about a half an hour, is the 1023 form makes a damning case against the Bidens, but it's completely unverified. And in fact, there are certain critical parts of the story that have been refuted by the people in the story. So it's problematic. And so that's why Kevin McCarthy says we need other stuff, more documents.
He talks about the 1023 form, and he talks about Ray not handing over this letter until he found out that Chuck Grassley had already seen the letter. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. But it is something that Christopher Wray was so protective of this certain document. And Congress had to threaten him by saying, not just because they have oversight, but saying, Christopher Wray, I already know the contents of this letter. You better release it or I'm going to haul you over.
Right. But historically, the 1023 is never released because it's just a work product of the agent or agents who took the thing. Usually it's another form that winds up in the public venue.
I'm curious what the Democrats say. I mean, they can't say witch hunt. I mean, we already saw what a witch hunt is, especially with all the revelations.
They did it to Donald Trump over a phone call. I think there's a lot more information here.
Want to protect these, though.
So much of the stuff we know is about Hunter. The big question is, how does it, if at all, involve the president of the
My dad
United
is
States?
sitting here next to me.
Yeah, but I mean,
I pay all the bills.
we don't know more about it, and that's
This is something that Doocy has voiced in the past, whether it be directly to James Comer's face, you know, the man spearheading this chocolate teapot of an investigation.
so. Make it easy for us. What was the crime?
Well, the crime is trading policy for money.
Which policy?
Well, we're going to get into that. I mean, look, Joe Biden has, on day one, he changed our energy policy in America that put China first and America last. He went in on day one and ended the China Initiative, which was an investigation at all our public universities of a very organized Chinese spy ring where China was sending students to universities to steal our research and development.
So you're saying because members of the Hunter Biden family and the extended Joe Biden family got money through various foreign entities, including things from China, that the president is compromised?
Absolutely.
Or to his co-hosts, which birthed some of my favorite moments where you just watch their reaction while visualizing the explosion that's going off between their ears.
Absolutely. And it's more, it sounds like from what we've seen and what lawyers have said to the press behind the scenes and stuff like that, it sounds like it's more than just protesting that he lost the election. It sounds like they've assembled evidence about tactics that the former president used to try to hold on to power after he lost in 2020, assembling slates of so-called fake electors from swing states that the president had at that point lost, pressured state officials to block or delay Joe Biden's win, and of course, famously, on January 6th, tried to persuade the vice president not to certify the election results in the Electoral College. That's just some of the stuff that could be involved. Remember,
we know all that.
All we know for sure is, according to this source at ABC, there are 3 federal statutes. We don't know exactly the evidence. We just know that that is the case that has been levied against him in the past.
But here's the thing, it's not just Doocy that's done with the endless nothingness that is the biggest waste of American taxpayer dollars since the third gas stove hearing.
Let me tell you something. Here's the score. Gun violence hearings in the 118th Congress, 0. Gas stoves, 3.
Kevin McCarthy's own Republican colleagues are also done hearing about it. So much so that they're going on live TV to say, dude, can you stop?
All I'm saying is, and I'm sure you'd probably ask the same question, where's the truth? You've got to get to the bottom of the truth. And the only way Congress can do that is go to impeachment inquiry that gives Republicans and Democrats the ability to get all the information.
Absolutely, Congress's role to look at possible impeachment, but I also think that if that is just a political game, then we need to make sure that the criminal case goes forward.
Okay, so let's talk about the impeachment. Do you think it could be a political game? And why do you believe that Speaker McCarthy in the last 24, 36 hours has begun to lean more into the notion of opening an impeachment inquiry?
This is impeachment theater. We right now are starting the appropriations process, and there is not consensus on the Republican side about what the numbers should be. Kevin McCarthy promised when he was running for Speaker one set of numbers, and then he made an agreement with President Biden for the debt ceiling increase on another set of numbers. So right now, he has got to convince the public that he's credible and that Republicans have a duty to follow him. The party itself is not in agreement, and we're going to have some real trouble passing appropriations bills.
I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. It sounds like you're saying that the Speaker is talking about impeachment to try to distract conservatives like you from spending bills that you don't like.
Well, not just me, but the public. What he's doing is he's saying there's a shiny object over here, and we're really going to focus on that. We just need to get all these things done so that we can focus on the shiny object. Most of us are concerned about spending. It is an existential threat to this country, and so we want to move forward with the spending bills in a responsible way.
Do you believe there is any reason why the House Republican majority should open an inquiry right now other than politics?
I don't think it's responsible for us to talk about impeachment. When you start raising the I word, it sends a message to the public and it sets expectations. I do think that what's going on in the Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee is absolutely fair and is part of our responsibility.
You mentioned spending. The idea that there are these spending bills, a lot of spending bills that are moving through the House.
I mean, when your own colleagues are going on live TV, CNN, in fact, to voice their opposition to your strategy around the corner from an election, you know things inside the House must be, as we say in Scotland, dodgy biscuits.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.